What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode 2 of our Motorsport Manager Let's Play. And can I just start off this episode, I guess, by saying a massive thank you to you guys for your support on the first episode. As I said in the kind of opening of that video, don't really know what I'm doing with this. Kind of doing this as a little bit of an experiment, and you guys seem to love it, so we're going to keep it going at least for the foreseeable future. And yeah, massive thank you to everyone who checked out, of course, the first episode, and hopefully you are as excited as I am about this, the episode 2, I guess, as we are going to be going into the Beijing Grand Prix. So first things first, have got a new mod on which makes our cars have kind of the bodywork of the new kind of F1 cars for this year. Very nice mod, they look wicked. I'll have a link to that down below. Also got a mod so that on race days and such, we can actually zoom in closer onto the track to have a closer look at our cars. So that should be interesting. But mods are one thing. We need to talk about the serious business of sorting out our car, because people were telling me that I need to change how I approach things. Now, I believe that we can change if we focus on the kind of construction side of things in terms of building new parts or the reliability. Loads of you were telling me, Jack, you need to sort out the reliability early on, so that's what we're going to do. We have first, however, got to continue a day or two, that so that the car condition can be fixed. So it's going to be 34 hours, and then we can sort out the reliability issue. We have, however, got an interview here with Sky. Natalie Pinkman has turned up and asked us if we can answer a few questions. Let's do it. So we've been told Nico Hülkenberg has claimed that your brakes seem to be holding the team back. I mean, he needs to button it, but I don't know if that's the answer I should give to the press. I'm going to say we need to invest more with the headquarters. Oh, okay, the chairman, he doesn't like that. I mean, he was happy about the last race, so we'll just cheer him up in the next race, hopefully. But he wasn't so happy about me having a go about the kind of headquarters. And if we look at our headquarters here, we've got a few things that are okay levels. The wind tunnel was something that was mentioned last episode as something that I could improve. I think there's also some other areas that we can improve here and like kind of add new parts to. I'd be interested if you guys want to let me know kind of whereabouts I should be looking to upgrade. And you can see here, looking at our front wing, we have great knowledge of it, and the same for the gearbox. I don't feel like we need to upgrade the telemetry sensor or the wind tunnel. What does the factory address? The factory is to do with development staff. The design center is to do with the time it takes to develop a part. And somewhere, I don't know where, there is a kind of way to add more parts to our kind of, what would you call it, our facilities. You can see it here, in fact. It says new buildings. And there's a load of different buildings we could have here. I might get a new engine one going if there is one that's specialised towards improving your engine. It doesn't seem like there is necessarily. Oh wait, rear wing, suspension, brakes, engine. So a test track for 8 million. That's a lot, but I feel like our engine is our big problem at the moment. So we'll do that. I'm spending it big. I have no idea if I should or shouldn't have done that. Maybe if you're a Motorsport Manager expert, which I now am aware there's a fair few of you experts watching my videos, let me know, you know, what other areas I should perhaps look to improve. But we'll go with the engine for now. We do need to continue forward as well before we can set our focus on reliability, because apparently that is something that you should just do in this game early on. So you can see here, we finished repairs on both cars. The mechanics can go back to making the performance and reliability improve. So now, if we go to the team, would it be? No, in fact, if we go here, I think, and where do we want to go? Car? Is this where we want to go? Is it improve parts? Yes, it is. Okay, so we have it all on performance at the moment. I've been told that reliability is a lot more important, so I'm going to go with a 15-to-5 split. So that means that performance of our parts isn't going to improve us greatly, but we will get that reliability up, because you can see at the moment most of them are just around kind of 80%, a few just shy of 70% as well. So that's important to improve, and it'll also help us with our new engine, which actually, now I look at it, we have this new engine with average performance, and I've just selected to upgrade our facilities, which will allow us to produce a better engine in the long term. So maybe that was a waste before, but we'll do this. We'll go with a 5-to-15 split. That will help us kind of improve these parts as a whole. And yeah, you can see here the suspension really the problem child. So we're addressing that on both kind of sets of suspension. The gearbox as well could do with a little bit of kind of reliability improvement. So we'll go with that for now. That feels good. If there's anything else as well that I should be doing between races, please let me know. I will tell you guys now that for the qualifying and the practice sessions, I'm going to try something slightly different with this episode. So I'm actually going to edit them down and kind of do a post commentary talking about how things went on. The race itself will still be a live commentary. I want to look at ways we can try and condense the format of the videos without kind of diminishing from the entertainment. And a lot of people were saying practice sessions and such are actually quite important for finding the tuning of the car. And so I think that'll be better suited to kind of a post commentary. Anyway, we've got 3 more mail messages here. We've got a wind tunnel. Can we see it upgraded? It could help us around low speed corners. Is that an area that our car's particularly bad in? Let's just refresh ourselves here. So low speed corners isn't great. Deceleration isn't great either on our brakes. So our brakes are another area we might want to look to improve. Can I develop a part now while we're still kind of doing this? Is it worth me developing a part? I feel like I could do brakes, which might help. We're not looking to improve our brakes at the moment, so maybe that's worth doing. As I said, answers on a postcard. There's so much to this game, and I feel like a lot of it I'm just going to learn by doing, but at the same time, any little bits, kind of nuggets of knowledge that you can provide will definitely help me out. Let's upgrade our brakes. It's not particularly expensive. So we'll do it, and if it's a mistake, oh wait, we have an empty component, so we select a slot here, so we can have better deceleration, better reliability, or better of both. I feel like we should go with better of both, and because we've not got good knowledge, we can't select a second slot. Interesting, right. So now if we select build part, we'll confirm that. I don't know if it's going to be ready for the race, the new part, because it's still being designed. And, well, the Grand Prix, it's coming our way now, so it's not going to be ready. We have one more unread message. It's the pre-race preview. And we can see here Mercedes have been tipped to have a great time on Sunday with the track suiting their car. Of course, we are at China for this Grand Prix. As I learned last episode, the tracks that are kind of in this kind of mod that I'm using, they're not real tracks. They are not, you know, obviously last episode was in Sydney. The Australian Grand Prix is in Melbourne. But of course, next weekend it is the Chinese Grand Prix as I record this. But anyway, let's hit continue. Let's get into the race day. We get to select our sponsor here. Do I think we can finish 6th or above? I mean, that's pretty ambitious, isn't it? I don't think we can do that. Let's go for 10th or above. I think that's definitely achievable, although actually we get less money than if we go with EasyJet. So we'll go with EasyJet there. In terms of tyres, at least for now, I'm just going to go with auto pick and trust the AI, I guess, to do a good job with us. We'll see how we get on, I guess, with this race. It should be an interesting one. Of course, we were pretty beneficial last episode from the kind of rain. It really did help us out. I don't think we're going to get quite as lucky today, but still, you know, I want to try and get in the top 10 if we can. Try and get a car through to the 3rd qualifying session at least. But yeah, I think we're sorted. We've selected our cars. We're not going to attach our new engine, which is still very experimental. And yeah, we're on our way to China to try and make something big happen today, and hopefully we can have a good performance here. It's a track that, as you can see, quite a few straights. There's going to be a lot of overtaking. And for everyone who was upset last episode at the fact that I didn't use KERS, or whatever the power system is called these days in Formula 1, I'll be using it today. I found where that button was, and I don't know how I missed it before. But you live and you learn. And, well, hopefully our drivers can learn to drive today as we do enter Beijing kind of race weekend. Anyway, as I said, I am going to kind of recap all of what you're about to see. Hopefully you enjoy. Let me know, of course, what you make of this format. And, well, Future Jack, let us know how we got on over in practicing. Okay guys, so as you can see on screen, starting the practicing session, just trying to get the car set up right. I am conscious obviously that there are going to be people here who are not familiar with F1 who watch this series, so I do want to break things down in this practice session for them. Essentially what you can see on screen is various sliders that allow you to change the downforce, handling and speed balance of the cars. The green area indicated is each race engineer within my team's recommendation, and the practice session basically gives you an opportunity to try and find a sweet spot. So what you can see on screen here is kind of initially with Palmer's car, really bad feedback in this practice session. You know, it just wasn't right at all. So I kind of just met everything in the middle, sent him out again. You'll notice as we go through this session, tyres really was a problem both in practicing and in qualifying. I didn't have enough really of the super soft tyres, and that is going to have a bit of a knock-on effect when it comes to race day. Anyway, Hulkenberg's speed balance was great off the bat, which was great. So really it was just about getting the downforce and handling right, and well, that made, of course, things easier. And you can see with a bit of amends, got up to great and good in both the previous categories, which were on poor. And well, looking at the practicing kind of results, obviously some cars on the slower tyres, but on the super softs, we had 8th and 9th. And so going into qualifying, I was hoping that we might have an outside chance of, well, maybe even making it into Q3 if possible. Anyway, we did pick up a variety of different kind of knowledges, including the qualifying trim and the super soft performance kind of improvements. So those were the things we went with. You may have also noticed in the setup there, Jolyon Palmer, excellent in every single category. And, well, I decided to try and mimic Hulkenberg's setup to make it a little bit better, if possible, kind of just looking at Palmer's I guess, setup as a reference point. It didn't really work out, but at the same time, it didn't completely backfire, which I guess is the main thing. Anyway, as you can see, going into Q1 here, sending both our drivers out, the tyre temps a real issue for me to kind of get good brake temperature and tyre temperature. I seem to be able to get one and not the other. But anyway, as you can notice, this was fairly late on, kind of in the practice session, really, that we sent out our two drivers. And you can see here, after their first kind of flying laps, they were in 12th and 13th, which is pretty good. You know, I really want to be competing with McLaren this year. I feel like they're definitely beatable. And, well, with 3 minutes left in the practice session, we found ourselves, you know, safe going into Q2. But I could see various other drivers coming out, and I kind of panicked a little bit. And I have to hold my hands up and admit, this may well have been a mistake, because, as you can see here in Q1, I decided to send both of our drivers out. I was having to juggle both their kind of temperature setups because I sent them off so closely together. You can see Palmer both overheated. Hulkenberg got perfect tyre temperature, but well, the brake temperature just wasn't there. However, I guess what my saving grace here was the fact that the cars, you know, further behind us who went out a second time, they just didn't perform that great. And despite our laps not being great, we did make it through to the second round of qualifying, which I guess is the main thing here. You can see in 12th and 13th. So Verline, Ericsson, Kvyat, Grosjean and Sainz were the cars going out. And so going into Q2, you can see for Palmer, only 2 sets of kind of fresh super softs left. And well, I decided to set him out on some just to see if we could try and make it into Q3. And then if we made it to Q3, we could change up the tyres. So you can see here we got him out, and then we sent out Hulkenberg as well. You'll notice that I staggered our 2 drivers this time. The big reason behind that was just giving me greater ability, you know, to control the tyre and brake temperatures, which I think it worked a little bit better. Hulkenberg was a little bit annoyed that he was out sooner, perhaps got caught up in a little bit of traffic. But all in all, you know, it was good to just get our drivers out on track. And as you can see here, they set some times, but those times were just really, really poor. And in fact, they were actually the 2 worst performers in this session as a whole on the super softs. And I kind of had a dilemma here of, do I want to sit with 14th and 15th, or do I risk our last few sets of super softs? And I decided to do it. So Palmer goes out, obviously, for his 4th flying lap of qualifying in Q2. And he was on the super softs. And you can see with the temperatures, it was okay, it wasn't perfect. And a similar story for Hulkenberg. 1 set of fresh super softs left. I decided to chance them, you know, send him out on them, see what he could do. Of course, the faster tyre, but the tyre that wears down quicker, the super softs. And so it was a bit of a gamble, really, hoping that we could get an improvement. And, well, sadly for us, as you'll see, that performance the improvement just wasn't there. It wasn't in the tyres, and we ended up with Hulkenberg on 12th on the grid, and well, Palmer in 15th, who just really didn't have a great lap, with Bottas doing well too. So anyway, kind of wrapping up qualifying, it's an interesting situation. You know, we find ourselves outside of the top 10. Lewis Hamilton and Bottas locked down the front of the grid with the Ferraris and then the Red Bulls in behind. Obviously, it's kind of where we expect to be, 12th and 15th, but there is plenty, I guess, of improvement to go on in the race. And maybe we can mix up our strategies, because we do have some good kind of knowledge of the medium tyres that I think could be pretty useful going into the race day. Anyway, future Jack, let's see how we get on. And yeah, hopefully going into this race we can get an improved performance. Okay guys, so here we are, race day. Obviously the qualifying that you've just seen didn't go quite to plan. We burned through a lot of tyres, and that does leave me a little bit concerned as to, I guess, what the plan is for today's race. In terms of what I am thinking, I am contemplating, because of the fact we're not going to have any super soft tyres to run, and because of the fact the drivers are fairly happy with the setup, I am seriously contemplating trying a one-stopper and starting on mediums. Now, you'll see here, the race is 22 laps. So if we were to go with the medium tyres, they've pretty much got to last their maximum lifespan. which it's going to be really, really tough for me, I guess, because obviously fairly new to the game. I'm going to have to micromanage them a lot, and obviously the issue I'm going to have is I need the drivers to push to keep the tyre temps good. But the other problem I'm basically going to have is that I can't push them too hard because the tyres will then degrade, and in reality I'm going to probably have to potentially look at having colder tyres just that will hopefully last. Obviously when they're running at optimal temperature it does help the lifespan of them, but it's that initial ramping up I'm a little bit concerned about. Obviously the car balance is very good, the drivers are happy. If I start on the medium as well, I then have the option, you know, I'll probably know by the halfway point in the race, you know, am I going to be able to get another 12, 11, 12 laps out of each tyre kind of thing? Because obviously I'm going to have to pit for the first set. If it's prior to kind of lap 11, I'm probably going to have to look to switch onto the regular soft. So yeah, we'll see how we get on. Obviously qualifying, the performance wasn't too great in that second qualifying session. I was hoping we could get into the third qualifying session. But we've got to try and kind of do what we can here. We have got some bonuses we can select, and we have got the medium tyre performance increase, so that's really good. And we've also got the racing trim one. So maybe the medium tyre is the way to go. During the practice session, as you guys saw, I did use a fair bit of the medium tyres just because I didn't have that many of the other types of tyres. And so maybe with the performance increase and with the race trim, it may well be kind of feasible, I guess, to try and run this strategy. We'll see how we get on, I guess. Obviously, I'm kind of banking on the weather staying relatively kind of straightforward and us not getting rain, because that would kind of ruin the one-stop strategy. But yeah, let's see what we can do. Obviously, we start from fairly far back on the grid. It's a Mercedes lockout behind them. It's both the Ferraris, then it's both the Red Bulls, actually. Then it's both Williams. So everyone really kind of lining up with their team on the kind of, I guess, the first four teams there. You've then got Sergio Perez in the Force India, Fernando Alonso as well. Hulkenberg is going to start alongside Esteban Ocon, of course, of Force India. The Force Indias did very well in the last race, actually, although I think it was Perez who did really well, actually, at Sydney. Stoffel Van Dorn and Kevin Magnussen on the kind of next row, and then Jolyon Palmer going to start alongside Pascal Wehrlein. So the Sauber's behind us, so hopefully we won't get kind of held up by them too much. But yeah, if we could try and pass the Haas of Magnussen at the start, that would be, I guess, ideal. With the strategy we're running, the drivers, I don't want them to push too hard. We'll see how we get on, though. You know, I need to get 11 laps really out of this first set of tyres. So we'll see how we get on. Obviously, I've got the new zoom in so we can take a proper nice look up close going into this first bend here. Hulkenberg dropping down into 11th, although Palmer, some nice driving there to get up into 13th. So good start for him. And yeah, with these tyres, the strategy as a whole, I don't want to push us too hard here. We can, you know, burn a little bit more fuel if we want to. I need to get the tyres up to temperature if we can. But at the same time, because I'm trying to make them last, kind of pushing them too hard is going to be problematic. You can see here, Hulkenberg up to 12th, although he's going to actually lose that spot. Is that Alonso in the McLaren? I'm not even sure at this point. In fact, I can check here, can't I? So it's Stoffel Van Dorn, and then it's Alonso who's the next one. So we could have a little bit of a battle perhaps on our hands here, as Jolyon Palmer, you know, he's in 14th. Hulkenberg down to 13th now is not great, but it's a good start to the race in terms of, you know, we've not had any kind of incidents, and hopefully the drivers can get these tyres up to temperature, because I don't want to push these too hard. Obviously, the more they heat up, the better it's going to be, but at the same time, because of the fact I've got to be mindful of the wear, I'm actually going to switch to neutral. It might mean we have to run with cooler tyres, but I want to try and make them last. That's the plan. I'm going into this knowing that I don't have any super softs, so as a result, the soft tyre really is the compound that if I have to fall back onto, I will. You can see a few other cars started on the mediums as well. It'll be interesting to see how long they kind of are able to make those tyres last. Because we're trying to nurse these tyres quite nicely just to kind of make this long stint kind of at the start of the race and see where we lie. You can see at the top of the kind of, I guess, grid here, Hamilton leading the way. Vettel has overtaken Bottas, and then it's Raikkonen in behind. There is a little bit of a gap emerging there. Anyway, we have got our curves which we can use. Hulkenberg is getting pretty close to, I guess that's Alonso, and in fact, no, it's Van Dorn, so Alonso must have had a bit of an incident to drop back. Going into the next straight, I'm going to activate Kers, I think, on Hulkenberg, and we'll see what he can do in this last half of the race. So yeah, he's got 50% of it. Of course, I didn't use this before, so learning for the second race that we do actually have this. You can see McLaren are going to use this to try and defend the spot, but Hulkenberg with the toe, very nice driving there. does Van Dorn on the inside. And actually, you can see here, Hulkenberg kind of pushing up the grid. Lots of teams coming into the pits now, which is, of course, going to be interesting. We do need to make these tyres last, which is perhaps a little bit of a concern. They're down to 65% wear, so that's a 35% wear so far after 5 laps. So another 35% is going to see us down to 30%. They should last at this rate. I might need to really preserve them right at the end of this stint, but actually, looking at it, it might be viable. Apparently the lower temperatures are hurting the tyres. I mean, maybe, do I push them? I'm kind of tempted to experiment here and have Palmer push them to try and get them up to temperature and then kind of preserve them. That's what we'll try and do. Palmer's up in 9th. He has got, who's he got behind him? He's got Bottas behind him, who has already pitted, of course. But, well, as we stand, we're in 4th. Can we celebrate this as a 4th? Of course, it's not really realistic until we kind of see where all the different teams are lying. Yeah, we'll push the tyres here and see if they can get them up to temperature. My only worry here is it's going to take so long to get them up to temperature that it's probably going to just cause them to degrade in this time. You can see the wear difference, 45% to Hulkenberg's 55%. So with Palmer, it might be a case of we have to change the strategy. Maybe on Hulkenberg's next stop when he goes on to the mediums, then we can look to change things up. But it's only lap 6 at the moment. We need to make these tyres last longer than what they're lasting right at the moment. Hulkenberg's doing well to defend 4th. As things stand, Palmer up to 5th now. Trying to actually have a go on Van Dorn, who himself is on the mediums. You can see Palmer's tyres have kind of, I guess, given way. You can see here, Palmer wants to pit. I'm going to pit him here. He's not going to last on the medium again, so we're actually going to have to do a double soft strategy. We could always switch to use super softs right at the end, but that's probably not even going to be viable. In fact, it's not going to be viable. So it is going to be a case of we use the remaining 2 soft sets that we have. In terms of parts, the engine has a 58% condition. I guess this is to do with the reliability, how much these degrade. Yeah, let's see what we can do here. It'll just be a standard stop. We're going to go on to the medium tyres. Sorry, not the medium, the soft tyres with Palmer. We'll use some curves here, so if he can just kind of, I guess, push just on this last little bit of his lap. Hulkenberg, on the other hand, I probably need to tend to conserve his tyres here because we need him to last 11 laps. We've got plenty of fuel, which I guess is a good thing. So we'll go on to the high kind of engine mode for now. I guess I could just get Hulkenberg to use his curves just to help him hold on to his position. Obviously, he's going to be getting a bit of a tow from Palmer, who's up in 3rd at the moment, which I guess is decent, but of course he is pitting very late here. But Hulkenberg, he's in 8th. It's an okay stop. Going to exit in 19th for Palmer. That's less than ideal, but of course a lot of the teams around us just haven't pitted yet. Hulkenberg's tyres are really starting to grade to the stage where I'm a little bit concerned about the idea of running the strategy of the one stop, but I kind of almost want to chance it, and if we have to, we could always switch on to use super softs for the last few laps of the race. Palmer's going strong though. Hulkenberg up in 3rd. He's trying to make this stint last as long as possible. You can see Van Dorn on a similar strategy in terms of trying to make a long stop here, so McLaren may be thinking along the same lines. Hulkenberg is going to get done there by Alonso. We'll have to take the curves and see if we can get him back on the straight, which he does, so that's decent. Might even get another car. Almost gets that 4th spot. But down at 30%, I mean, this is the concern. The tyres are stone cold. But yeah, I need to make these tyres last another lap really. So we're going into lap 11. So this is the lap we are going to pit on. So I mean, it's worked to an extent. 12 laps remaining, so it's one more lap. Hulkenberg is going to pit, and we're going to put him on another set of mediums. Yeah, I mean, you can see the hair, the parts. Yeah, those percentages seem pretty low. I have no idea what is a low percentage, but it seems it. I kind of want to do a risky pit stop because it could make a difference with our strategy. Obviously, I'm expecting us to come out in a little bit of traffic. But let's just go for it. I'm not doing a risky pit stop yet, but it could make all the difference. And we are going to go on to the medium compound. And we're going to try and make the one stop work. Unfortunately for Palmer, it's not going to work here. I've actually just realised we've had Palmer in the aggressive driving style for a while. So his tyres have actually really worn down. I should be paying more attention. I'm too concerned on my number one driver. That's the problem I've got here. I'm going to activate our power unit here to hopefully get Hulkenberg just to hold on to this position to the end of the lap, which actually pulls away really nicely. Palmer, tyres are overheating because of how much we've had him pushing. He's in 11th at the moment. Let's activate the power unit and see if he can make something happen here. I'd hazard a guess that I should probably use this more on the straights, but at the same time, we'll see what we can make happen. Unfortunately, Stroll actually activates his power unit to hold on to his position. We have closed on the gap on one of the Force Indias here. It's actually Esteban Ocon who he could be battling with. So Hulkenberg here, I need him to push to get his tyres up to temperature initially, but we do need to conserve them as well. Got about half a lap of excess fuel, so we'll have him push on that as well. Palmer is going to need to come into the pits here. His tyres have just fallen off a cliff. 10 laps remaining. I'm going to put him on another set of mediums. Obviously, we did give him the kind of increased medium performance kind of mod thing. I can't remember what it's called, the exact term in this game, which will help with the performance there. We'll go with a fast pit strategy for him as well. We'll see what we can do. But yeah, his tyres are just completely falling off at this point. We'll activate the KERS as well, just to help him push through. Hulkenberg's tyres just aren't getting up to temperature even with them on push, so I am actually going to just reel him back in here. Obviously, you can see here a lot of the front runners in this race are already on the medium tyres, but they've been pushing them, so they are going to have to pit again. So it won't really be until then that we know where we lie. Hulkenberg's only 49 seconds off the leaders, so we could, if we can make this strategy work, gain a fair few positions. I'm going to activate Hulkenberg's power pack here because he is in a bit of a battle with actually Stoffel Van Dorn, who's trying to make something happen. I feel like with Hulkenberg, I'd rather have him conserve his tyres for the majority of this race and then really push them at the end when there's a little bit of life left in them, than kind of push them now and then realise that we have to pit kind of late on because, well, we've just not got it in us. Apparently the tyres are graining because they're not up to temperature. I mean, do you push them here? This is the dilemma I've got. I feel like in pushing them, that's just going to tire them more. And because of how narrow the window is, it's a 22-lap race. The medium tyres last between 8 and 11 laps. I've got to stick with it. I'll have Palmer push here and see what he can do. He's in 15th at the moment. We'll have him try and... I mean, do I want to compromise Hulkenberg's race? I guess we can always use them to tow one another. But yeah, you can see here, Hulkenberg, he's done about half the required laps on this tyre, and the wear is about where you'd expect it to be. So that's interesting and worth noting, perhaps. Palmer's going to have to go into the neutral strategy, although he has got a lot more excess fuel. He's actually got just over a lap, so we'll activate that. Give him some KERS, let him have a go on Sainz. Who, looking at it, Sainz really struggling with his tyres. You can see a few of the front runners have now done their last pit stop. So as far as we're looking here, it looks like Hulkenberg's actually going to kind of struggle, which is a bit of a shame. I don't know if the one stop is actually going to work for us because of how much we've had to nurse the tyres. Which is, I don't know, that's a little bit of a shame really. Let's put both the cars into overtake mode. I know they're kind of racing with one another. But yeah, we've got some fuel to burn with 4 laps left, so we might as well try and make it kind of happen for us. Unfortunately, that grading kind of a big problem. You can see the life on Palmer's tyres is pretty similar to Hulkenberg, so really I've got to keep them on similar strategies, you'd imagine. We'll give Palmer his KERS here, but you can obviously see with Palmer, he's done the extra stop, but he's still ahead of Hulkenberg because of how much Hulkenberg has had to kind of hold back for us. So the one-stop strategy hasn't worked in terms of it hasn't really gained us a lot of time. In fact, it may have even lost us a little bit of time because of how much Hulkenberg's had to kind of nurse his tyres and did get stuck behind a little bit of traffic. Hulkenberg's feeling some issues with his brakes. I mean, not ideal. The engine's sounding unhealthy, so basically all our cars are falling apart with not many laps left. That's exactly what I want to hear. Let's just switch down into the high mode here. The tyres are pretty much at the exact same point. I could have both drivers push them. I mean, we have gained positions on where we started, I guess. So from that perspective, it's not a complete failure. But we have got cars kind of hot on our heels, particularly for Hulkenberg here. We have the Force India of Ocon on our shoulders. And actually, Alonso, who of course we were racing right at the start of the race. He's down in 13th. Hulkenberg I think we can make these tyres last. It's a case of can we hold on to these positions. That is the big question. Someone with an engine issue, perhaps a Force India, it looks like. So that might be us gaining on Perez. Yeah, Perez is struggling with some kind of issue. Ahead of him is Massa and Stroll as well, who we seem to be gaining on, oddly enough, although we are being caught up ourselves. I've got to watch out for our fuel here because it is starting to wear down. But there might be places to be gained here right at the death of this race. Just one lap remaining after this one. We have got Esteban Ocon hot on our heels. He's on a fresh set of softs. I mean, Palmer wants fresh tyres with a lap remaining. Someone needs to tell him that that isn't going to be possible. Oh, we have a issue here. What was the issue? The engine. We could fix it, or there's one lap remaining. I've got to. I can't pit now, can I? I've gone past the pits. Hulkenberg needs to try and hold on if he can. Apparently, Hulkenberg's having some issues as well. Both our drivers trying to hold on if we can over Ocon, who's behind. We're trying to chase the Force India. It's turned into a bit of a battle of attrition here right at the end. The Force India trying to force Hulkenberg up the inside. We'll get him. Hulkenberg loses that position. And unfortunately, I don't know if Palmer's even going to be able to hold on with his car issues he's got at the moment. You can see both set of tyres. They're pretty much gone at this point, unfortunately. We'll just attack. It is the last lap. We've got absolutely nothing to lose by trying to push it. Palmer's car could give out, though. He is being caught up by Ocon. Hulkenberg's trying to make something happen here, going into the last bend, but he's not going to be able to. Palmer, though, going to get P10, I think. Oh, wait, no, that wasn't the last lap. Oh, this happened before. I'm getting horrific deja vu here. There's another lap to this race, and I thought that was the last lap. Okay. Okay. Palmer, you need to hold on if you can to 10th place, my friend. Activate your power pack. Just try and extend that if you can. I mean, Hulkenberg is trying to catch desperately. I thought that was the last lap, so I kind of forced us to push. You can see both our cars' tyres have pretty much fallen off a cliff at this point. Palmer really, really struggling now. We probably can switch engine modes, though, to try and make something happen. Hulkenberg is trying to hold on to Alonso, who's having a go at him. This is drama to the last. I don't know if I can deal with this. Just activate what little power you've got left in your cars, gents. Palmer trying to hold on. He will hold on, I think. Makes it down this last straight to get 10th. Hulkenberg as well. Just well to get 12th. And, I mean, we gained on where we started. It wasn't a massive improvement. The strategy that we ran with Hulkenberg with the one stop, it looks like Kvyat tried a similar strategy down in 18th. It didn't work for him. I mean, Hamilton wins the race. You can see it's a Mercedes lockout at the top. Ricciardo did well, actually, and Verstappen too. So Ferrari dropping a few positions there. I mean, that race as a whole, I'm fairly happy with it. Obviously, there was a strategy that we went with. It didn't really work. You can see here what happened with Palmer. So Palmer actually pitted on the mediums 4 laps sooner than Hulkenberg. But that short stint on the soft tyres definitely made a difference. Although Palmer probably over-pushed those soft tyres, we probably could have conserved those a little bit better and done 2 soft stints. You can see the cars at the top were running super soft. We didn't really have enough super softs. That's probably down to me, to be fair, burning them in, I think I used 1 set in practice. Obviously in qualifying, because of the fact that you start Q3 on whatever tyres you kind of go in with, I was kind of going in with the attitude of, we'll just, in that qualifying session, if we make it to Q3, I'll run the medium tyres instead, just so we start on those. But obviously we burnt our super softs just to ensure that we got through. We have got to be scrutinised, so hopefully our cars are fine. They are, no rules broken. I mean, it feels disappointing. Jolyon Palmer does get some more points, I guess, for the Constructors' Championship and his own personal championship, which is good. He gained 5 places, so that's actually a really good performance by him. Hulkenberg ended up finishing the race where he started. You can see Alonso and obviously Stoffel Van Dorn, they lost positions on us. So we did well. We outperformed the McLarens at the very least. You can see here looking at the points in the Drivers' Championship. Palmer in 10th at the moment. He's not doing that bad. 5 points. Hulkenberg, considering he's our kind of #1 driver, yet to score. That's a little bit of a concern. And in the Constructors' kind of Championship, we're kind of the best of the rest. really. You know, I'd like to try and challenge with Williams if we can. Force India, obviously, they had a great start to the year. Obviously, I hope, and well, at least my anticipation is that as the season goes on, we do perform better. But obviously, you know, it's still very early days. I'm still getting to grips with things. That is still my second ever race ever, and I think all things considering, it didn't go all that badly. But if there was anything you spotted throughout, you know, should I have pushed our guys just to get their tyres up to temperatures and then look for them to conserve them, or would I have just lost kind of speed equally? I'd look like, you know, any advice like that. I don't have the experience of a load of races. That's kind of part of the charm, I feel like, with this series. But you can see here some good improvements actually by our drivers, which is nice. I do want to start racing with Sergei Sirotkin at some point because he's got some potential to fulfill. But no, all in all, it went okay. It went okay. It wasn't an outstanding race. We gained some positions. We made some money for the weekend, which is good. I didn't actually see how our chairman reacted. I assume it was fairly positive, all things considering. And I mean, Jolyon Palmer, 1 point from the race. It could be worse. You know, realistically, our drivers are expected to finish outside of the top 10. So if we can break into the top 10, particularly having kind of started, you know, outside of that kind of Q3 kind of group, that's all you can really ask for. Anyway, you can see here we've got some news items to do with the race as a whole. You can see park condition dropped a fair bit. We're going to get that fixed, however. We have got an interview that we can do here. We'll do this just to end today's episode. So we attempted a quick pit stop for Hulkenberg during the last race, but it resulted in a mistake. That might explain why Hulkenberg didn't really work on the one-stop strategy if we lost a lot of time off that. I'd say we had to go for it. We had to go for it. The drivers, they didn't like that answer. Well, that didn't work, did it? Well, that's not the happy note I wanted to end on, but the Dubai Grand Prix is coming up next. It's in 17 days. And I guess hopefully I see you guys for that. Of course, we've got some upgrades going on now. We've got a new test track being built, although it's going to take 22 weeks. Got a few kind of developments coming for our car, new brakes, which should be interesting. Obviously, hoping to improve the reliability, because that definitely seems to be a problem if the end of that race is anything to go by. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Please do let me know what you felt of the format, you know, the qualifying and practice session. That's something that I really do want to get your opinions on. Did it work? Would you like it like that? Would you prefer it was all live? Please do let me know. Anyway, guys, if you have enjoyed, please do leave a like. Other than that, it is me, Jack, and I will see you on the next one next weekend for another episode of our Motorsport Manager Let's Play. I'm out.